Okay, let's do a warm up. So still just get started by marching on the spot. Okay, and as usual, let's loosen up our spine first. Okay, so just kind of bend forward a little bit and then bend back. Oops. Wait 1 second. Okay, so kind of round a little bit. Okay, and as you breathe in, open up the chest. Okay, so just repeat a few times. Okay, exaggerate motion as you feel more loose. Okay, try to bring your chest up. Okay, so you feel your mid-back muscles tightening a little bit. Okay, so it's not just bending back, it's trying to actually get your chest up to the ceiling a little bit. Okay, and let's go side to side. Okay, just our usual sequence. Okay, and then the rest of the spine, and a little bit of the shoulders. Okay, and then open the chest, so just swing your arms back and forth. Okay, front to back. Just try to reach back and then try to touch your shoulders. Okay, opening the shoulders a little bit more. Hands at the back of the tailbone or the pelvis. Okay, deep breath in. You try to pull your shoulders and elbows back. Okay, without going into pain. Okay, and then just try to touch side to side. So just side of the pelvis or the back of the head, side of the head first. Okay, slowly see if you can get your hands a little bit closer together. Okay, once again, without going into pain. Okay, one side might be a little bit easier than the other. Okay, 3 to 5 times per side, and then relax your shoulders. Okay, loosen the shoulders. We're just going to circle our hands to this just below. Okay, let's try to circle forward. Okay, circle backwards a little bit slower. Let's try to reach behind you almost without rounding your back. Okay, and lastly, let's try to circle upwards. Okay, so leaving maybe a little slower. Okay, have your chest up as well. Okay, so shoulders might be a little bit tight. Okay, so let's do a little bit of side bend. Okay, and we're just going to move our shoulders up and down. Okay, focus on pulling downwards. Okay, pause in the middle. When you're ready, switch it to the other side. Okay, so also try to pull your shoulders down away from the ears. And once again, 3 to 5 times. Okay, and let's circle our arms. Okay, so elbows beside the ribs. Okay, out of the way. Okay, reach into the armpits a little bit more. Okay, try to reach out on both sides. Okay, separate the fingers. Okay, and opposite direction. Okay, so your entire arm is rotating inwards into the armpits. Okay, and then coming back out. Okay, onto the wrists. Okay, and then each finger. Okay, open and closing the hand. Open and closing the tips of the fingers. Okay, side to side a few times. Okay, and then check everything out. Okay, relaxing the upper body. Try to draw a bigger circle to hips. So push the hips out to the side, backwards, forward. Okay, a couple of times in each direction. You try to relax upper body a little bit. Okay, exaggerate backwards directions. Knees slightly bent. Pushing the hips back. Your spine is nice and long. Okay, bend the knees a little bit, sitting on a tall stool. Okay, hips, pretty much the exact same thing as before. Just more bend in the knees. Your weight is still shifting backwards a little bit as you squat in. Okay, hips a little bit wider. It's still exact same thing, so still pushing hips back, okay, but bending only one knee this time. Okay, so sit back, weight onto the heels. Okay, so my knees are not bending all that much. It's mostly my hips. Okay, come back, and we're going to have 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Okay, back heel if you can, try to get it closer to the floor. Okay, and you should drive your hips forward. Okay, and then after 35 times, same thing out of the side. Okay, try to make sure your hips are square. So point your belly button forward, chest forward, hips should be facing forward. Okay, back here if you can, get it closer to the ground. And once again, kind of drive your hips forward, keeping the back leg relatively straight. Okay, and 3 to 5 times. Okay, and then loosening up the knees, just alternating, lifting them up. Try to bring your heels closer to your butt. Okay, and then the ankles back and forth. Side to side. Okay, and maybe hold on to something as we just circle our ankles. Okay, reach on the other side. Okay, and just wiggle your toes, scratch the floor. Okay, lift them up. Try to spread them apart. Okay, and shake them out. Okay, so for today, we're going to work for the upper body, we're going to do the shoulders. Okay, so shoulders have multiple parts, so you can think of it as kind of just wrapping around here. So there's a kind of a front part, there's kind of a middle part, and there's also parts of it which covers the back of the shoulders. as well. Okay, so we're going to do just different, we're going to do one exercise which do the front and the side. Okay, and then the other one we're going to do the back. Okay, and then afterwards we're going to do the smaller muscles of the lower leg and also the little bit of forearm. So we're going to start off with the shoulders. Okay, so the motion we're going to do is that we're going to lift the arms up. Okay, so I'm going to do the, so don't worry about the band for now. Okay, but you're going to lift the arm up, okay, and to the side, okay, and then coming back down, okay, and then we'll do the opposite direction. So it'll be out to the side, to the front, okay, and back down. Okay, so main thing is that try to always be in a good position. So just think of lengthen the spine, bring your chest up slightly. So even as the weight is pulling you down, just fight it by keeping your chest up. Okay, and we're just doing this motion. Okay, so depending on how long or how thick your band is, you might have to do a single-sided. Okay, but if your band is long enough, you can try to do it two hands together. So you're just stepping on the middle of the band. Okay, once again, check our position first. So chest top. Okay, we're going to start off just slightly upwards to the side. Okay, and then back there. Okay, and then out to the side, to the front, and back down. Okay, so if your band is way too tight, okay, don't go too high, or you can choose to make it longer by just stepping on one side, and that'll make it a little bit easier to pull out. Okay, so depending on how long your band is or how tight it is, do either one hand at a time, or if it's kind of long enough, you can try both. Okay, so I'm going to do both. Okay, you can adjust. Okay, you can also sit down a little bit to do it. That will make the band a little bit longer as well. Okay, okay, maybe we can do it this way. So we can all do both. So if your band is long enough, do it standing. If your band is too short or too tight, do it sit it down, and the band will pretty much be longer. Okay, so pick either one. Okay, so we're going to go lifting up to the front. Okay, front should be a little harder than the side. Okay, and back there. Okay, and then 2. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you have a dumbbell, that might be actually a little bit easier. This will be the same exercise. Okay, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so once again, we're aiming for about 10 times. Okay, if the band is light for you, you might have to do a few more times. Okay, but stop when you feel like you can at most do 2 to 3 more repetitions. Okay, in good form. Okay, so I did about 14 just now. I feel like I could at most do maybe 3 more good repetitions. I'm going to stop there. Okay, so once again, either do it standing or seated down. The dumbbell will be the exact same thing, probably easier to deal with if you're using a dumbbell. Okay, so we're gonna give the shoulders a rest, and then we're gonna do one for the lower calves. Okay, so this one, having a chair will be easier. Okay, so we're pretty much doing a calf raise. Okay, so you're just pushing yourself up. Usually both feet together is pretty easy for most people. So we're gonna try to do it on one leg. Okay, so you can either have it lightly touching the floor or have it completely off. Okay, and you're just going to push yourself up. Okay, pause a little bit. Okay, come back down. Don't go all the way down. So the heel should be still a little bit off the floor. Okay, and then we're gonna push ourselves back up. Okay, so we're gonna go 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3. Okay, so my heel is still off the ground. 4, 2, 2 is when you're pausing the top. 3, 5, 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, 7, 2, 3. Okay, so if you can be pretty hard already, 8, 2, 3. Okay, once again, stop any point. 9, 2, 3. Okay, so for myself, I can feel like it's a lot of pressure here already, so I'm going to stop then. If you find it's way too hot, get your heel back down on the floor in between. Okay, so if your heel is always off the floor, it will be a little bit harder. Okay, if you get all the way down, you can have a little bit of rest in between. Okay, so easy will be just up and then back down completely. Harder will be halfway, almost halfway down and then back up. Okay, so pick which one you find is more suitable for yourself. Okay, but you're going to add a little bit of pause at the top. Okay, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, 7, 2, 3, 8, 2, 3, 9, 2, 3, 10, 2, 3. Okay, once again, plus or minus a few more reps depending on how you feel. Okay, shift things off. Okay, and we're just going to repeat these two exercises one more time. Okay, so either with the band, with a dumbbell, or just even just your own arm if you want. Okay, so once again, either do a standing up or seated down. Okay, check your posture first as usual. Okay, palms is more or less facing towards yourself or towards the floor. Okay, so once again, start off with lower range first, so don't go so high. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so at most, if we just shoulder height is fine. 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so about 10 times. Okay, do more if you still feel okay. Get 2 less if your muscle is sore, you're tired already. Okay, but leave kind of 2 to 3 in the tank, okay, or in reserve. Okay, so I feel like at most I can do 2 to 3 more. Okay, so let's stop there. Okay, so that was kind of more or less a front. So when you lift at the front, there's more the front side of the shoulders is working. To the side is a little bit more, of course, the side as well. Okay, so that one was this front and the side of the shoulders. Okay, let's go back to the calf one. Okay, so once again, you have 2 choices, either just go up and down, resting on the floor, or don't go all the way down, go halfway, have your heel kind of hovering, and then back up. So this hovering will be harder. If you set it down, that'll be easier. Okay, so once again, hold it at the top for about half a second to a second. Okay, so 3 counts. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, 7, 2, 3, 8, 2, 3, 9, 2, 3, 10, 2, 3. Okay, continue or stop. Okay, you can play around which side of the chair is on. And you might feel maybe slightly different parts of the calves depending on if you're leaning more towards outside or more towards your big toe. So you can play around with how you're standing. And when we're ready, we can repeat on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, 7, 2, 3, 8, 2, 3, 9, 2, 3, 10, 2, 3. Okay, so the chair is on the opposite side. You probably feel a little more pressure on the big toe, maybe a little more pressure on the middle of the foot. Both is fine. You can sometimes change it up a little bit. Okay, so we're going back to the shoulders, okay, but this time we're trying to work on the back of the shoulders a little bit. Okay, so the back of the shoulders does point back slightly. It also rotates the arm a little bit this way as well. Okay, so we're going to do this one seated down. Okay, if you have something very heavy or something very sturdy you can anchor to, tie the band to, you can also do it standing up as well. But I'm going to do it sitting down. Okay, so once again, depending on how thick your band is, you might have to make it, you either do it one arm at a time or both, or if it's long enough and if it's light enough, you can do it both arms together. Okay, but you're going to hook the band in the middle of the leg or the foot. Okay, so this one probably make it a little bit band a little bit longer just because it is a smaller part of the muscle. Okay, so we are going to be pulling the shoulders back, the elbows back, okay, but not just like a roll. Okay, we're actually going to try to pull our fists back as well. Okay, so it looks something like this. Okay, you can even try it without a band first. So we'll be pulling your shoulders back, elbows back, okay, but also try to reach backwards with the arms. Okay, so from the front, it will look something like this. So elbows back, shoulders back, okay, and then hands back as well. Okay, so if it's way too tight, if you find there's way too much pressure on one side, you might have to kind of tie it on the foot a little bit on one side, or just make one side, make it a little longer and only do kind of one arm at a time if you find it's kind of way too tight. Okay, so, or just do less smaller range. Okay, so we just go to here instead of all the way back. Okay, so let's do the 4 counts here. I'm going to go slightly back. Okay, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4. So the back of the shoulder is probably getting a little bit tight. 8, 2, 3, 4, 9, 2, 3, 4, 10, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so once again, about 10 times. Okay, you can stop anytime or do more if you feel like it. Okay, but do stop when you feel like you can at most do 2 to 3 more good repetitions. Okay, so still the shoulders, okay, probably felt it different parts, or probably a little bit closer to the back. Probably something that most people are not very used to. Kind of feeling. Okay, so slightly different than just what we call row, which is more of a mid-back muscle. If you add a rotation in the arm, definitely the shoulders, back of the shoulders has to work a lot harder to do this exercise. Okay, so next one, let's try something a little different. Maybe slightly awkward, okay? But if you have a rod, that'll be good. If you have something like a water bottle, you can grab that as well. Okay, if not, I'll show a different variation afterwards. Okay, it's kind of slightly, maybe slightly awkward. You might play around to see if you can really feel it. Try to get the right muscles to engage. Okay, so the muscle we're trying to work on is the kind of muscles of the forearm. Okay, so let's forget the stuff first. Okay, so you can put your hand on your forearm a little bit first. Okay, so as you pull your knuckles up, you should almost feel like one of the kind of muscles here popping up a little bit. Okay, and if you do the opposite, if you kind of pull the, you may have your thumb facing forward. If you just curl your wrist in, you should feel that kind of this more on the bottom part of the forearm kind of popping out a little bit. Okay, so primarily, usually we don't have to train this muscle too much, okay, but it's more for osteoporosis or osteopenia. It's just to strengthen muscle or the bones of the forearm. Okay, so when you work the muscles, you're also pulling against the bones. Okay, so usually when we fall, our natural instinct or reflex is to just reach out and kind of catch ourselves in our arms. So a lot of people do kind of break their forearms. So we're going to just use this to lightly strengthen those muscles and also the bones. Okay, so slightly awkward, okay, but you're going to just step on the middle of the band, okay, and then just kind of drape the band, the tails of the band on the rod. Okay, if you have a water bottle, you can have it maybe closer to the middle inside the foot. Okay, and you're just going to turn it a few times, or grab the band, turn it a few times so that the band kind of wraps itself around the band, the rod. Okay, so after that, it should kind of pretty much just stay there. Okay, so afterwards, you are just going to twist the band, twist the rod. Okay, so your goal is not, so as you turn, you should feel that you're using the muscles of the forearm. Okay, so of course, the more you tighten it, the harder it becomes. Okay, so you can do it kind of both arms at the same time, or you can kind of do, okay, once you reach your limit, you can kind of let it come back out a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to do it maybe a few more times. Okay, could be slightly, you might play around to see how you can feel the muscles of the forearm working, but it's a twisting motion. You're trying to bring your knuckles closer to the ground. Okay, when you're gripping something, that also works the muscles of the forearm as well. Okay, and once again, careful friction burn. Okay, but you can kind of repeat a few times. Okay, you can also find a area where you're tight, okay, and just kind of repeat. Okay, so find a tension, this is probably easier. So find a tension that you're comfortable with, okay, and just try to twist. Okay, just kind of twist and relax. Okay, and the forearm, the bottom of the forearm should start to be a little tight. Okay, so for this one, let's just do it for time. So let's do another 10 seconds or so. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, so come back. Okay, so hopefully you felt a little bit in the forearm area. Okay, so we're going to actually repeat, but in the opposite direction. Okay, so you probably have to kind of drape the band backwards this time. So from front to back. Okay, and like before, you're going to have to, this one you might be a little bit harder, but see if you can get the band to kind of catch onto yourself. Okay, so it should stay even if you're not holding the band. Okay, and let's just find a tension that you're okay with. So you can twist it a few more times to make it tighter. Okay, and it's kind of like before, but this time we are just going to either do turns, okay, or just kind of see if you can twist the rod in the opposite direction this time. Okay, so find that you might tighten it or loosen up. See how you feel. Okay, and you can kind of just twist and hold, okay, and relax. Yeah, this should be closer to the top of the forearm, I guess you could call it. Whereas before it's more the bottom part of the forearm. Okay, let's do 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, slowly let it go. Okay, so you might have to play around with it a little bit to see how you can get the forearm to be more engaged. Okay, so just play around a little bit, see if you can feel it. If not, it's okay. It's not the muscle that we're to train kind of all the time. Okay, but shake it out a little bit. Okay, shake out the hands if you feel like you might find your forearm is a little bit harder now, or a little bit more almost what we call a pump, which is that your blood has kind of gone into the forearm. Okay, but because you're contracting, it's not really coming back out, so you may find it's actually a little bit harder, a little bit fuller. Okay, and sometimes you might have to just shake it off a little bit. Okay, but this kind of pumping feeling is actually what one way that bodybuilders kind of build more muscles as well. It's just to get more blood in, kind of hold it there for a little bit, and that actually stimulates a little bit of muscle growth as well. Okay, but let's go back to the shoulders again. So this is the one where you hook it to the middle of the foot. Okay, and as usual, good posture first. Okay, and once again, this is you're pulling your shoulders back, you're pulling your elbows back, but you're also trying to get your elbows, get your fists further backwards. Okay, so the elbows kind of more or less stay beside the ribs again. Okay, and you're pulling your knuckles back. Okay, and also doing like almost a 4 count. So I think this is 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6. Just be careful that you're not also bring your elbows back. Okay, try to get your elbows coming pointing downwards. Okay, and your knuckles going back. Okay, so I think we're 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4, 9, 2, 3, 4, 10, 2, 3. So once again, stop anytime. 11, 2, 3, 4, 12, 2, 3, 4, 13, 2, 3, 4, 14, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 15, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now I feel like I need to stop, or I just feel like I have a few more repetitions left. So I probably can grab a slightly heavier band next time. Okay, but because we're working on a smaller part, I probably don't have to. I would be safer if I just keep sticking with this band for myself. Okay, but once again, that's the back of the deltoid muscles or what we call the shoulder muscles. Okay, but it does have a kind of front part, a middle part, and then a back part. Okay, let's go back to the forearm one. You can just play around with it, see if it works for you. If not, don't worry too much about it. Okay, but the first one, you can think of just twisting kind of your knuckles towards the floor, wrists going forward. Okay, but I'm draping the band from the back to the front. Okay, twist it a few times to make it catch. You should balance out the rod a little bit. So make sure the band is catching. Okay. Okay, and just kind of twist it a few times until you find a tension that works for you. Okay, just twisting alone can get it's kind of working your forearm already. So if you hold it on one side, you probably felt like your forearm's getting a little bit more tense. Okay, so you can either keep twisting or you can just kind of find a tension that works for you, and then you can just kind of twist and hold, coming back. Okay, so we'll just kind of do this for time. It's just because it might be harder to find something that works for you. Okay, so maybe about 10 more seconds or so. Okay, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, shake it off if you need to. Okay, and then we're just going to do the opposite. Okay, so be draping the band the other way a little bit. As long as the band kind of catches onto itself, it's actually either way works. Okay, so this side I'm twisting the rod kind of backwards. Okay, so once again, either you can try to keep turning it a little bit, or once you find your limit, then just kind of turn and relax. You can do a 3 counts as well, so kind of twist and hold, okay, and then come back. Okay, maybe another 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6. You can also just hold it at the end as well. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So if you're twisting and holding it, that part is the hardest one because you're not letting your muscles relax at all. Okay, slowly back on. Okay, and once again, probably have to shake out the forearm muscles a little bit. Okay, if you're feeling that kind of what we call a pump feeling, or just the feeling where your arm is kind of stiff, it's kind of a little bit stiffer as well. Okay, so that's the exercises for today. Okay, so let's just we can do a review. Okay, so once again, you're doing for the shoulders, you're doing the front. So when you're lifting in front, you're doing the front side of the muscle. If you're lifting it to the side, you're working more the side of the muscle. Okay, and when you're kind of pulling back slightly, kind of rotate it backwards a little bit. Okay, that will be the back of the shoulders. Okay, so the first one will be, just for review, we'll be just lifting in front, to the side and back. So that's the first exercise for the shoulders. Okay, for the back, you're going to be pulling your shoulders back, elbows back, okay? But mostly try to focus on pulling your arms backwards as well. So be this type of motion. You can probably feel a little bit in the middle of your back as well, but probably shoulders will be the most tight. Okay, so that will be the back of the shoulders. Be careful you're not trying to lean back to do it. So try to get your goal is try to get your knuckles a little bit further back, and your elbows were pretty much just pointing downwards. Okay, so that's the one for the shoulders. Okay, for the calves, we're just pretty much doing calf raises. Okay, but to make it harder for ourselves, we're just doing it on one leg at a time. Okay, so if you let your muscles relax in between, that'll be much easier. Okay, so to make it harder, you can, instead of dropping down, hover. So my heel is still, it's actually off the ground. Okay, and then back up top. Okay, and that will be for the calves. Okay, so when your muscles are not completely relaxed, blood kind of goes in and doesn't really come back out, which is one way that you create that kind of that sore feeling in the muscles. You're actually accumulating kind of lactic acid in the muscle area. Okay, so that's one way you can stimulate muscle growth, is to create damage through chemical means, more or less. Okay, the other one is just you're trying to work the forearm muscles by either lifting your knuckles up. Okay, and you should lift it up. You should feel like you're stiffening up here. Okay, when you do the opposite, when you try to curl your knuckles in, you should feel this part of the forearm tightening. Okay, so those two. Okay, you can also actually do kind of lifting this way a little bit or turning. Okay, but is what I find that that's the easiest way to get the forearms to work with the band. Some people do it just with their forearms and just kind of pull. Yeah, so some people might do something like hold the band and then curl it in. That works as well. Okay, but see which one works for you. So you can either just curl it this way, okay, or the other way, okay, or use a band, use a rod to help. Okay, so maybe slightly shorter class. Let's just stretch out the forearms a little bit more today. So I'm just going to put the rods down. Okay, so let's stretch the forearms. Okay, so we look into the mirror in your hands. Okay, palm to palm. Okay, and then you're just going to pull your kind of wrist down. Okay, and almost slightly turn your fingers inwards. Okay, deep breath in and out. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and same thing on the other side. So once again, look into your palm, palm to palm, and pull your fingers downwards towards yourself. And lightly return your fingers in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, shake it off. Okay, so this one, I need to figure, let me just give you a second. Okay, so it'll be you crossing your arms, okay, one on top of the other. Okay, so the top arm is the one that you're stretching. So you're going to pull your kind of hand in, okay, and then a little bit. So last time it was inwards, now it's pulling your knuckles kind of outwards. Okay, so I'm once again stretching my right arm, so this arm. Okay, so I'm pulling my wrist in and also turning it, my arm a little bit out to the side. Okay, so if you stretch at the top here. Let me actually try the other way. It's actually easier to opposite. So sorry, my bad. So instead of stretch the top arm, so get your arm on top, and you can apply a little bit more force this way. Okay, so I'm pulling my fingers kind of up this way slightly. So both ways kind of works, but see which one works a little bit better for you. Okay, and same thing on the side. I'm trying to see which way. Okay, so the non-stretching arm being on top, I think is a little bit easier. Okay, so this arm is turning in like this. Okay, I'm using this hand to help me just apply a little bit more force. Okay, elbows kind of straight. Okay, and check it out. Okay, shoulders, let's just still do the classic way. And same thing on the other arm, whenever you're ready. Okay, for the calves, just the usual calf stretch. So just put anything that can get your toes a little higher is fine. Okay, this could be a wall, could be a chair. Okay, but you're just shifting your pelvis forward. You should like the wall a little bit better. Okay, or use a fake book or yoga block to get your toes up. The same thing on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to try the wall this time. Yeah. I think if you're barefooted, the most comfortable one is still use a block or use any like a thick book to get your toes higher than your heels. Okay, and try to relax everything again. Okay, so let's call this a day. So I'm taking a few days off next week as well. So next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there are no classes. So we're gonna pretty much take next week off. Pretty much I'm taking Thursday, Friday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off. Okay, so see everyone maybe in 2 weeks. Okay, take care. Happy Easter. Bye.